Turn up the dive, feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild and variety. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the group. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild and variety. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene. Hesitation coming around again. Termination, more than we might have been. In a world of unbelievers, there is no way of getting across to a crowd of true receivers. I think I'm lost. Hesitation coming around again. Termination of all that we could have
Hello, 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 my friends in Sasquatch land. Monday night again on the Untold Radio Network. I'm your host, the OG, Chris Reinhardt, and we are here with another great show for you at the beginning of the week. How's everybody doing tonight? We got a very special guest with us tonight. Miss Patti Negri is with us and backstage at the moment. As you know, we have been trying to we reach out to all different branches and we're trying to figure out the phenomenon. Is it Bigfoot? Is it paranormal? Is it spirits? What's going on? What are we capturing in the woods? What are the voices that are we hearing? And that's why she's here. She is one of the leading world experts. So we're very happy to have her here. Hello, everybody. I just want to say, everybody in chat, Miss Francesca E's with us tonight. Miss Diane Fowler. Hello. Boots on the ground with Barb. Hello. Uncle Bones, too, is with us. Hello, Uncle Bones. Mr. John Ayers is with us. Glad to see everybody piling in. Mr. Brian McMahon. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, BF Bud. So everybody's piling in. Glad to see you guys could all make it. I'm very happy that we could all show up on a Monday night. I know it's the beginning of the work week and everybody gets home from the first day of work and not too excited about things, but I appreciate you guys showing up tonight. So let's get this show on the road and let's bring out our guest without further ado, Miss Patti Negri.
The crowd roars. Thank you. Beautiful interest. Thank you, Chris. I am happy to be here.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here tonight. We know you're on the run all the time. You're here, you're there, you're here, you're there. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, and I'm here. So there you go.
Yeah, that's all we needed you to be right there for this.
I was there.
So if people, I mean, I know personally who all about you, but not all about you, but enough about you for the people that are here tonight for the first time meeting you. You want to just give them a little background on yourself?
Sure. I am a psychic medium. I've been talking to the other side since I could talk like a toddler. I literally did my first seance when I was 7 or 8 years old. I realized I didn't know dead people, but I raised veil in my little windowless, lightless hall filled with orbs and lights and flying things, and I've studied it my whole life. I'm also a witch. I use the term good witch because I like it better than white witch because I'm good and it means so many things. But I only do positive magic. And that's from childhood too. I'd find myself in my suburban backyard picking rosemary and mint and stuffing it in my mom's wallet. No one would bring her more money and things. So it's just in the blood, I think. And it just didn't get taught out of me. I think kids really are intuitive, psychic, whatever you want to call it, but it just gets taught out of us in our modern, Western, non-mystical, non-magical society. So really, that's why shows like yours that bring in the mystery we need. We need.
Yeah, it's very
So
important.
anyway, I've been on Ghost Adventure, recurring on Ghost Adventure since 2015. My latest one that was just on was Scotty's Castle. I'm shooting with guys next week. So that's really fun. I'm also with Ghost Finders now on my Paraflix network. So I have the network Paraflix, and I have a school, University Magicus, where I teach people that anybody can talk to the other side and spell casting and all sorts of magic things. So that's me in a nutshell. I live in Hollywood under the H in the hills. I have a dachshund, I'm a wiener wrangler, and a cat, and that's me, and a drummer husband.
All right, all in one breath. That was pretty
all
impressive.
in one breath.
So, when did you first notice when you could start communicating with the other side?
I didn't never notice it. I just did. When I was a little kid, I just knew that those imaginary friends weren't imaginary. I even think back, and some of them, they weren't probably just spirits or ghosts. Who knows if they were ET, off-worlders. It's like, oh yeah, they were different, and some were short, and some were this. But I just thought that was completely normal. It was completely normal, and it never got taught out of me. I didn't have a religious upbringing, like, "Ooh, this is evil." My mom would just kind of go, "Yeah, grandma did that too. Yeah, grandma could do that too," and that was it. So, but I would drive by houses of worship, any religion, a church, a temple, a mosque, a park, and I'd see the energy and I'd see the light and go, "There's something in that." And now I take it all down to energy. So whatever template you use of religion or philosophy or science or occult or paranormal or witchy, it takes it down to the same truth.
So most of the people here are Sasquatch folk. They were all believers here and everything. What was I going to say? What are they going to expect to hear from you tonight about the Sasquatch or about the EVPs or anything? Well, what should they expect to hear tonight?
Well, it depends on what you have. No, I think like what your first opening questions. Yes, I think they're on the other side of the veil, just like ghosts and spirits and probably everything else that's on the other side of the veil. I've never personally overly looked into the whole Sasquatch thing or experienced one, but I'd love to. But one of my mentors, one of my teachers, Maximilian de Lafayette, he wrote like 100 books on aliens, mostly Anunnaki. He speaks 21 languages, a lot of them ancient languages like ancient Sumerian, and a lot the Anunnaki, which kind of leads into the Nephilim, which kind of leads into that. I don't know. He gave me, he's an expert on such things, including the Sasquatch. But another friend of mine who's more into the Sasquatch thing, he uses Max's words and sigils and symbols and things, and he could talk to him. He studied all Max's books. I did a seance, and I'm not even sure what it was. Maybe I see through. I did a seance once. I have a big wild backyard for the middle of Hollywood. And I was using his words and his symbols and sigils. And I was with kind of a celebrity at the time. And we did this thing and we used his words. And the thing that showed up wasn't a ghost. It wasn't, it was something that I had never experienced. Sasquatch, maybe, because it was hard to decipher because it came in and out, but it was definitively not of the same realm of the ghost or spirit guides that I've been talking to my whole life. So soon after, like I think seven of us, all working mediums, all professional mediums, all trained, did it again. And around my dining room table, and we were using these ancient Sumerian words, which again is what Sasquatch apparently speaks, or some of them do, of the Anunnaki and the things. And all of a sudden, we were hitting these different weird tones, like harmonizing tonal things. So use sound. They were doing this, and weird body movements. We literally created this energetic grid. And then one person starts channeling and talking. It was a crazy, and then this big thing, and it didn't look like what you think in aliens. Again, who knows? That laid its like arm across my dining room table. It was really one of my. I've had a lot of wild experiences. This is what I do for a living. I travel the world and look at wild things. But it was one of the most ever. And my friend who reads his same books, he knows where their houses are in this, and he can use this languaging from Max's books to completely communicate with them. So I'm intrigued with it. I just haven't got there yet with my little brain.
Right.
That's what you hear from me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you brought up how you guys are all harmonizing in the same tones and the same frequencies. Now, frequencies, I believe, I mean, this is just I'm not an expert. I don't know in the Bigfoot world. That's why you're here. That's why I interview a lot of different people. We're trying to get answers. And this is an answer that I need because I'm picking up voices and why I'm out in the field. I mean, midday, bright sunshine, and I'm capturing voices. I don't have to be in the dark and it happens all the time. But the frequency thing seems to have something to do with them. There seems to be something with the frequencies. So that was pretty cool that you brought that up.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think that's huge part of it. I think that's huge. And this is where spirituality or paranormal and science is clashing together. And I think that's going to be one of our first communication stuff, really, when we start talking to all these things on the other side of the veil.
Right. But you can measure that stuff. Like the guys from the Ghost Adventures, they have the instruments to measure that stuff. It is science.
It is science.
But yeah, so that's what I try and tell people that it's just not a feeling that you get in your belly, but some people like yourself might get the feeling in the belly, know what you're talking about, but others can measure it with EMF detectors, with radio frequency, and all that stuff can be used. So it's not far off.
That's why I like the equipment, because I'm a medium. So I might say there's a spirit or something. They're dancing on the table and they're doing jumping jacks with their hands. You believe me or you don't believe me, you believe, but now there's somebody like with an SLS camera in another room who can't see me. I can't see them. And they've got a little green stick figure doing jumping jacks. And we go, hi. So science is proving my world, and my world is getting backed up by that. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing the shows that I've seen you on, especially the Halloween special, when you were at the museum and you were battling the bad witch in the basement, and you guys were floors apart and you both could feel each other. And it was just, that's what got my head turning. It was just amazing that you even knew what was going on down there.
Yeah, it's always the basement.
Yeah, it's always the basement. That's where they hang out, right?
I mean, on like everything, we're at the prison, the insane asylum, the Black Dahlia house, the Cecil Hotel. It's the basement, or especially if there's a dirt basement, which a lot of time there is at least partially dirt basement, the energy coming up from Earth. And again, I think that's what you guys are tapping into, because you are out in nature, you are out in the wild.
Is there something that we could, say to get not in tune with the Sasquatch, but to get in tune with the outside, getting better? Is there anything we could do when we approach the woods to get one, like, it's one with the woods, so to say?
Yes. welcome the woods. Come and go in with respect, which I'm sure you do. Say who you are and why you're there, whether it's the woods or a haunted house. I am an elemental witch. I work with the wood, the energy of the woods. Anybody who's here who works a compass, the woods has everything. Earth is of the earth. It's that ground. It's our solidity. It's who we are in our personal persona. So hooking onto the earth, the power of a tree, the roots of the tree, that's the energy you're going to get. Water connects to emotion. So if you have a little stream bubbling down through the woods, you're going to get spirit connection through that and emotional connection through that. Air or wind, the wind whips up through the things. That is our air element. And that's literally going to connect into clarity and focus and thought patterns, how to connect. And fire, of course, there's fire, whether we're building a controlled fire or what, or fire from the sun or fire from things we're working with. That is that passion and creativity, and everything together makes this beautiful balance. So the more you go in with balance, I call in the fire, I call in the elements as I go, and just ask permission to go in and welcome, and it opens you with welcome arms. Or welcomes you with open arms, or opens you with welcome arms. The same thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do approach it. There's a lot of different sides to Sasquatch. They call it the woo. That's the paranormal side. That's what the name, the Ric Flair woo. Woo. I call it high strangeness. But and then there's flesh and blood, and then there's woo, and then everybody has their own way of thinking. So again, we're here looking for answers. I don't know what's going on out there. I don't know what's doing the voices. And that's why we interview different people and ask questions that need to be answered. And thank you so much for being here to answer these questions. Later on the show tonight, everybody, we'll let her answer some questions from the audience. She's got somewhere to go tonight, so we got to get off about the hour mark. So
I can talk fast.
Yeah, but we'll have questions right near the end.
I'm going to the woods tonight.
Have you ever experienced anything with alien activity? Do you know?
I think so. Again, when I think back to my childhood, I think some of those energies were different. In my experience, and this is a quote somebody just used on me, I don't think aliens and ghosts go to the same party. I think it's a different dimensional level or frequency. I don't know where Sasquatch, they might have their own, again, and they all, of course, come and go and flow and up and down. But if I lift the veil and doing what I do, which I would love to do, like with you out on the Sasquatch, the way I really lift that veil between our world and the other worlds, because it would, with ghosts, and I think with ETs and everything else, it makes them that it clears the glands a little bit. So I'm sure it would work into the woods, because again, I'm an elemental witch. I am out running around with trees all the time and connecting into the spirits there, to elemental spirits, to tree spirits. I'm an animist. I think everything has a spirit.
So in the Bigfoot world and the woo side of things, they talk portals. They talk that the Sasquatch can use portals. They can do whatever, however they use them, whatever they do, or they, walking into them, walking out of them. Number one, are portals real in your book?
Portals are 100% real in my book, because they're everywhere. They're portals and vortexes. I mean, you could create a portal with a mirror or two mirrors and create it, into the inside realm of things. Yes, there's portals and vortexes, and there's crossovers within that. Where I live in Hollywood, there's these literal like portals and vortexes all through the Hollywood Hills, like kind of in Griffith Park, kind of near the Hollywood sign, goes all the way down to Malibu. I actually think that is why Hollywood is exactly where it is. It brought in the dreamers, the writers, the musicians, the actors, the religious. I have 7 major religious organizations within a mile of my house. Everything from Theosophy, Self-Realization Fellowship, Vedanta, a Catholic monastery, Scientologists, Katana. It brings in the magic. I haven't seen the Sasquatch in Hollywood, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. We do have some good green space.
Could they be dangerous?
Huh?
Could portals be dangerous to someone that doesn't realize that one's there?
I think it can be, again, if you go in with respect, even if you don't do something quite wrong, yes. But if you go in and with whatever your protection methods are, I think everybody should go in. If you're Catholic, if you're Christian, go in with your angels. Do your cross. If me, I work with a lot of runes. Helm of Awe is my protection choice. It's a 8-sided cross. If you work with oils or herbs or prayers or meditations, know who you're going to call if it does get scary. The place to close off for not getting something in you is the back of your neck. Everybody, we want our third eye open, even for Sasquatch. Even you want this open, but the one that's right here, right where your head and neck come together, unless you're a medium and you want to take spirits into you, close that off. That's actually why when people pray, you bow your head to let in God, to let in spirit. So I would shut that down, open this up, go in with respect. And with portals, again, things can go in and out. So, but if you're protected, your personal portal is closed, you're okay. There's not a right way to do everything, but it's your intent. It's your intent.
Could they form naturally in the wild? Like just a vortex be out in the middle of nowhere and someone not even know it and just walk into one by chance?
I think most of them are. And most of the time, regular people are going to walk through them and not even notice. I think people are going to walk right through and if they thought about it, wow, it's kind of a little dizzy. Or if they thought about it, I had a tummy ache for 1 second. Or, wow, I lost time and space for a second. But if you're not having, fuzz out here. If we're not having consciousness of it, or you're not trying to go in to see what is portals back. The one in Griffith Park I was talking about, it's an energy field more than anything else, but spirits come through it. But every time I've been there, it's absolutely not marked. There's no sign, this is a portal or this is a vortex. But every time I've been to it, in the middle of 3,000-acre Griffith Park, there will be lovers kissing, or musicians playing their guitar, or nuns praying, or it pulls in people. So, I think if people go to one areas, that some of that is the energy of what they're being brought to. Yes, we can get to the point where things are coming in and out. I don't, unless you're really making a big mess of things, and again, wrong intent. I think that's all of a sudden, if you don't know how to do ritual and you want to do ritual, or you want to open the veil and you want to talk to Sasquatch, or you want to talk to demons, or you want to talk to angels, or you want to talk, then it could be dangerous. But, don't jump in this deep end until you learn how to swim.
Gotcha. Residue. Do they leave residue when they come from the veil back and forth? Is there like a residue that the spirits, like if they touch glass, would they leave like a handprint on the glass? Or what can you describe what that is?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. In the olden days, spiritual ectoplasm, but half of that was fake. 3/4 of that was fake, but it is real. I have seen once this in broad daylight, just like with you in my old apartment, this little ball of kind of residue. It's like, wow, that was one of the majorest things. I wasn't investigating. I wasn't doing anything. I've seen they can certainly smudge things and fingerprints and stuff. And also, it's like, to me, I call it residual as much as residue. It's the leftover. It's almost like a smell, but it's not a smell, and it could be a smell. Like, say you baked some really yummy chocolate chip cookies, Chris, and so you baked them and they were so good, but somebody ate them all, but they still smell. The smell lingers for a long time, or you stepped in dog poop. You got dog poop on your shoe there. You cleaned it off, but it still smells. That's what I think the residue can be, along with real physical, energetic things.
They say the Sasquatch has a distinct odor of like rotting swamp dirt water that people smell, and I've smelt it myself, but it's there briefly and then it disappears. It's just gone like in 5 seconds. Again, I don't know if it's a Sasquatch because I'm not seeing a Sasquatch, but this is pretty interesting with the questions.
Well, see, what would be great, what I think, because I teach mediumship, you don't always have to see with your outside eyes. If you develop your own intuition, or people going out to look for all these off-world or otherworldly things, I teach clairvoyance, clairaudience. Sometimes you see with your eye, oh, I see a Sasquatch, or sometimes you see in your mind's eye. That's equally legitimate. Sometimes you hear on the outside or on the inside. Sometimes you smell, like I said, you're really getting the scent of rotting whatever, or on the inside. Sometimes it's a taste. Go open up all your senses. Sometimes you just know. It's equally valid. You just know that there's a creature hanging behind that. In my mediumship world, that is equally legitimate. And now there is that scientific stuff proving that. I just know there's somebody behind that tree. I'm not seeing it, smelling it, or tasting it. That's clairvoyance. So you develop that and allow that to be just as legitimate as what you see.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've felt that before for sure. I forgot. Oh, okay. Now, you ever hear of the hitchhiker effect?
No, what is that?
Okay, that is an attachment you get while you're out looking for Sasquatch, and you end up bringing the spirit or something home, and they call it the hitchhiker effect. I don't know. What would you call that?
I would call it an attachment. I go in the paranormal and ghost hunting world, or in the witchy and spiritualist world, and I would call that an attachment. But so what I would do in my world is just say, nothing gets to go home with me. I'm very conscious before you get in that car to go home, whether you smudge with something, a Palo Santo, I'm not a sage girl, a Palo Santo stick, do your prayer, whatever works for you, literally consciously say, thank you for whatever you gave me, or not going, you don't get to come home with me.
What's that attraction? What's that attraction? Is it your negative? Maybe some people say it's your negative thoughts. You're having a down day. It's easy for them to attach to you. Is there any science behind it, or it's just they pick you and they go with you?
Oh, they're gonna, I think they will go with an Achilles heel, a weak spot. So if you're depressed or you're having a down day, again, and I'm talking spirit world as much as Sasquatch, because I think it's the same energetics. If anybody where you can get an issue is anybody who has an addiction problem, an issue, anybody who has, whether it's a severe drug or alcohol problem or mental imbalance, they're going to hop onto that faster because it's like an Achilles heel. They can.
A lot of people get addicted to the Bigfoot subject, period, and they're out in the woods all the time. So could be one and the same.
Could be.
Yes, it takes over some people's lives. It's pretty, it's addicting. It took over mine. I mean, 8 years ago, I had a notebook and a ruler, and now I have a little office downstairs where they're doing a podcast and talking to people like yourself and trying to get answers. And it does take a hold of you. The elementals. I'd like to let's touch a little bit on the elementals. Now, obviously you believe 100% they're real. Mm-hmm. I have a friend out in Oregon and she's capturing them on her phone camera, and they're flying through and everything. Mm-hmm. How common, if you really, do you have to look for them, or do they present to themselves? Are they a common thing in the forest?
I think they've always been here. And even if you have your little city of thing, you can call in, you have one little house plant in your window, you can call in the fairies. And they all have different spirits. I don't know enough of gnomes or this or that. They are being seen more and more now, literally, like I said before, so we could keep our eyes on taking care of our planet. People who aren't into like your world or my world. I remember he's a really good medium friend of mine, Chris Fleming. He was on that same Ghost Adventures. Chris Fleming, he's a known medium, but he's not like a witchy person or a Bigfooty person. I remember he was shooting his series in the UK. He goes, Patti, I saw a gnome. They're real. He had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, they're real. They are real. Because I think we need our focus there. And as the veil gets thinner and thinner, which I think it will continue as we literally move into that age of Aquarius they sang about in the 60s, we're going to have more and more Bigfoot, extraterrestrials, fairies, gnomes, because we need it. We need the awareness. I think even the Bigfoot awareness, even though I know people get obsessed and let's go find Sasquatch, it helps us to take care of our planet.
No, I've heard that for the last few months that the veil is thinning, and that's why a lot of this stuff is presenting itself. And why is that? Why is the veil thinning?
Because we're headed into the age of Aquarius. You know, like a Libra is different than a Virgo, is different than a Sagittarius. Aquarius is this water, it's this air. There's no solid ground. It is not our parents, grandparents' world of black and white and right and wrong and solid, no solid ground. It's like this. So if we live in a world of dimensions and veils, it's going through like, oh wait, the Bigfoot kind of came and kind of went. The spaceship kind of came and kind of went. The ghost kind of came and kind of went.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool because there's a lot more of that going on, and people are starting to see things that you never hear about, like the gnomes, like you just said, and the fairies. Yeah. And of course, I don't know. I've never seen them. I don't, you know what I mean? I can only talk from what I hear. But I'd like you told me that story about the fairies in the beginning of the show, and I would love for you to
see that one. Okay. All right.
That.
This is fairies live, as a rule, fairies live at the edge of day, edge of night, edge of the path, edge of the garden, edge of the so sunrise, sun up. In Europe, especially Ireland, their fairies have a little bit more seriousness. They have a little bit more. They're even building a road. They like a city. They will go around a fairy mound or a fairy fort. I was in Ireland last year at this beautiful. It was a organic farmer. He's got the hundreds of sheep and the cows and organic farming, and he had real fairy mounds and real burial mounds. And a fairy fort, a real fairy fort where you have to ask permission to go on, and a fairy tree, which is a portal or a vortex. Fairy trees are. So I was walking through the greenest you've ever seen, that Ireland green, and the sun was just starting to come out. And I stood under the fairy tree, and it was like a psychedelic experience, 100%. Like, okay, don't need any mushrooms, don't need any. It was like the most amazing thing, and all these sparkly things on the tree. And then I stepped outside, and I was, I don't know, 100 feet away or something. And I looked around at the most beautiful land I'd ever seen. And there was literally a white stallion on my left, this beautiful white horse. There was a beautiful black and white cow on my right. And then about 20 people, my bus full, at the fairy tree, like 100 feet in front of me. I'm like, oh, I was so grateful to the universe, to the earth, to Mother Earth. I closed my eyes and I said, thank you. I am the luckiest girl in the world. I closed my eyes. I opened my eyes, and the people were gone. And now the horse was on my right and the cow was on my left. Nobody had moved. The fae literally had picked me up and put me down 180 degrees without me lifting up my feet. They just flip me around, because that's a fairy thing to do. Like when you have them in your home, you'll get a lot more laughter and a lot more music, but they get a little mischievous. All of a sudden they'll steal your keys and they'll steal your earrings and they'll steal your sparkly things. They will give them back. They're very bribable. They're very bribable. They give them honey, give them cream, give them whiskey, give them some sparkly things like shells or crystals or glitter. A couple years ago on May Day, May 1st, it's Beltane, the pagan holiday of Beltane. The veil between the worlds is thinnest 2 times a year. On Halloween, which is Samhain, that's our new year where we celebrate the dead. And on May Day, which is May 1st, or Beltane, that's dance around the maypole. And that's the day is thinnest, and that's the fairies holding up. It's not about the dead, it's about new life and music and harvest. I mean, coming into planting time. My husband and I went back deep into my backyard, and I had this little cup with 6 little cup holders in it. So in each one, we put some dark honey and some white cream and made a wish. Everything from want a new car to peace on earth. 6 little wishes with equal amounts of dark honey and white cream. So they all kind of look like a cappuccino, 6 little cups. We made a wish with each one. We left that as an offering for the fae. We went upstairs. I went down first thing in the morning. 3 had honey and 3 had cream. They'd moved them around. That's fairy. It's like, okay. Nobody had been down there. Nobody even known we'd done it. They bring magic.
That's a lot. That's Sasquatch activity too. I gifted. I'm going to switch this back around here. I gifted for 6 years with the Sasquatch, and that's the same. Well, for what I believe to be the Sasquatch, and we gave, I got stones from them and feathers from them and all that stuff. And in return, I gave them feathers and stones, and they like peanut butter. They always took the jar of peanut butter and apples and back and forth and back and forth. There's so much in common with the Sasquatch world, with everything that you're talking, the woo side. I mean, not the flesh and blood side, because they just think it's an ape that's in the woods, and that's okay. They can think that. That's their opinion, and that's their opinion. And I stay neutral on everything. I'm friends with everybody. I like to stay friends with everybody, but I lean a little bit towards the other side because I've experienced it. And once we start playing these EVPs tonight, you guys will all see a little bit more of what I've experienced. But did you?
Yeah, because I think if they were just regular flesh and blood, undiscovered apes, and I know I did a thing in Bosworth Hall, a guy who thinks we would get bones, we would find bones.
Right. I have a friend of mine that says, well, if they were an animal, we'd have one because we could study animals.
Yeah. So okay. I think they are other dimensional beings.
Right. So everything
probably are elemental, that just
right. Did you ever time loss? Did you experience time loss with the fairies that night when you got turned around, or was it just like very brief?
That one I think was very brief, but I have certainly experienced time loss. Again, when you're going through the veil or portals or vortexes or whatever words you want to use it, there, in my experience and in my training, there is no time and space on the other side. That's our little creation of how we live by our little humans, time and space. But if it's not on that side, we could go through things, lose time, make up time. Yeah.
Now, another thing with Sasquatch is you find one print. You'll find a big old 15-inch footprint right in the middle of a muddy field, and that's it. Nothing in front of it, nothing behind it, nothing. Is it possible? I mean, just asking off the top of my head, is it possible to step out of the veil, take one step, and then back into where they came from? Or is that possible? Or
I would think so. I would definitely think so. Again, my experience with the veil is more than the Sasquatch, but I went into a house of somebody I believe I was in my last life. I knew every inch of that house, but I totally lost time and space. I don't know if I knew. It was like deja vu that didn't end. I don't know if I was there 5 minutes or 5 hours. And that's the kind of stuff happens all the time. So I think we can go, and I was probably going in and out of the veil. I think I've seen, elderly people before they pass, they're going in and out of the veil or the vortex too. So I'm sure these other worldly beings can do it, come in, jump up, maybe comes in. Oh, I'm going to land on Earth. Now I'm out of here.
Right. Maybe, yeah, could very possibly be. So with the conversation, the Sasquatch can be sharing the same energies as all these other beings, as the paranormal side. It could be. I mean, I don't know, but it could be, by the sounds of it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're experiencing the same thing that a lot of people experience with the Sasquatch, and you're experiencing it with spirits and all the stuff from the veil. And so
adventures, a lot of time they don't go to purposely focus there most of the time, but I think they probably ran into some Sasquatch type things out there in the woods. I think.
All right. That's what I was talking to you about the other day. I wanted, when you see Aaron, you got to ask him because at the Goatman Bridge episode we were talking about the other day, I think that was a Sasquatch there. I think that's what picked him up and threw him. You saw I know the Goatman's reported with the red glowing eyes and all that, but it was a great episode. I mean, it's a creepy place, and you said you've been there.
Yes, I stay at a house that's like 10 minutes away when I go to Texas, like twice a year. I've been there by day, I've been there by night. Yeah, it's a creepy place.
Yeah, and I just think that's what that was. I really do. Just the whole episode, I got that vibe. I just think he was picked up and thrown by a Sasquatch. But so hopefully maybe one day we'll find out.
Yeah.
So all right, we're getting, wow. Yeah, we're all at 20 of already. Can you imagine that? So let's get on to the EVPs. This is I guess this is my selfish reason for bringing you here. Other than I'm a big fan, and I've always followed you on the Ghost Adventures and watch what you do, and I'm pretty impressed with it. And so as you can tell, I'm still a little jittery when I talk. If you guys didn't know, right before the show, my whole computer shut down and I'm on the phone with her at 5 of, and I'm like, my computer doesn't work. I don't know what's going on. And knock on wood, it all came back. So I'm a little razzled still, but so I'm going to start off with the EVPs. Now, this is the first one. Now, these are all caught at my area I call Rock Throw Alley. It's a state forest. There's a aquifer underneath at the top of this mountain. It's at the top. That has a structure up there that points at the stars. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and I've had a lot of great interactions up there. And these are all from this area, and these are all from like mid-morning to mid-afternoon. These are not night. It's nothing special, and they're just. And I never caught them until that place in the green swamp. So, this is the first one. Now, you'll hear them, and I'll tell you the strange part about everything once we get done with it. So here's the first one.
Oh, it slaps a little bit of water down drinking.
He says, "Help." We'll play it again.
Oh, it slaps a little bit of water down.
So now here's the next one. You hear him say help again?
Yeah.
So he says help again, and that was an hour and a half up the trail from the first help.
Did you guys hear it physically in the
No.
boat? So it was only on video, on audio.
Only on audio.
Cool.
I caught this guy. I couldn't get the recording out on here quick enough, but I caught the same help this year again. The same voice. Can they follow you? Can these things follow you? Can they attach to you when they know you're coming? Can they
Probably.
identify with you?
Spirit ghosts too. So why can't Bigfoot? Yeah.
All right. So the next one says do it. And this is the creepy one for me. This is just, here comes another one. Here we go. It's right there. I'll have a picture of it too. Right there. This is a big. She whispers, she says, do it. It's right there. I'll have a picture of it too. Right there. That's a big. Now that's creepy to me. The next one is you'll hear he, and they say Sasquatch knock on trees. They use wood to knock on trees. So this is why I'm getting confused. Could this be the Sasquatch? Or are they in the same area just doing the same thing they do? I don't know. So here's this one. It's a girl's voice. She'll go he, and then you'll hear a knock on the tree.
Huh? Don't go on that one.
So we'll go with those first. The he and the knock. So now there's something. What I'm taking as he is paranormal, and then the knock on the tree is Sasquatch. They're in the same area. Can they be working together, do you think? Or is this a separate phenomenon? Or what do you think?
Let me see. I mean, what if it's kind of all in the same? What if Sasquatches are paranormal? I mean, they are. Ghosts knock and Sasquatches probably giggle he. I think what you're doing is opening up into the veil. So maybe when you're going out, really put that intent out that we really want to talk to Sasquatch. We want to communicate with Sasquatch. Put that out there with respect. We do knocks just like we do in the paranormal. Do this. Do you need help? We bring you. That definitely sounds otherworldly. It definitely sounds like you're hearing through the veil on things. But if something said help that many times, make sure you ask them how you can help. I would do that for a ghost, even though half the world think you're crazy because, like, who are you talking to? Nothing.
No, I agree with you. It's just why. I don't understand why this just all started. That's the biggest question I have. Why me? Why is it starting here now with me? Never did it before. I did it for 5 years, nothing. And then for the last 3 years, this has just been going on. Did I open it? Did something start, or are they attracted to something? Or
Probably. Like when I'm doing a space clearing or a house clearing or something. Again, no time and space. They don't need to catch your text or your phone call. When I'm coming into a place, like if I know a week in advance, activity will amp up or pull back specifically all the time. It's a regular thing. Maybe they, again, no time and space. They know, Chris is coming out, so let's go hang with Chris. Just like if I'm doing a seance, it's kind of like an open welcome sign for the spirit world. You're probably the same thing.
So they know way before you even get there.
Mm-hmm.
They know your intentions before you even get there.
I think so.
Okay.
I think again, we're giving too many human limitations. Yeah, like you said, maybe a vortex. I think we're giving them our human limitations. We're these little pea brain things.
All right. So now the next one is now they start mimicking me and they start repeating my words. So the word is they're here, and I will say it, and then at the end, the first so this is where it's weird. Again, a rock throw comes at us. So I say, they're here, because that's what Sasquatch do when they were up there. They throw stones at us. That's what they do. I'm assuming that it's Sasquatch, because I'm not seeing them do it. I'm assuming. And then at the end, you'll hear like another voice that's not none of us, and it repeats what I said, they're here. So here we go on this one. You keep hearing it? Told you, they're here. So now they're mimicking us. That's a little freaky too, because now we're getting physical activity again with a stone throw, and then we're hearing these voices. So it's very confusing. You don't know whether you're ghost hunting
at all. It's the same thing ghosts do. You hear them, you don't hear them. They make the candle flash. They throw things. They knock things off walls. I've had somebody burst into flames. It's the other world.
It's pretty cool. All right, now cool. This one, they agree with me. I say something and they go, uh-huh. Yeah, because we're paying attention to them, probably. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So the next one, let's hear which one's this one. I only got 3 more, so I didn't load them. You hear this one.
You hear that?
No. I'm going to play it again. We hear this one, and there's 2 voices. So what's going on is I'm up front of the pack, and there's a guy in the back of the pack. He hears the first one, which I don't hear. And then when they do it again on the second hey, I hear, and he does it. And we're only 10 feet apart. So here we'll play that one.
You hear that?
No.
That sounded like someone goes, hey, like that.
No.
I'm going to put them up here.
Wow, I heard it that time. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I heard the hey.
See?
I just heard that right here. Yeah. So what's going on there? We're hearing 2 different voices and we're only 10 feet apart.
Different parts of the veil are open. We could be sitting around, again, to comparing your world and mine, we could be sitting around my seance table, my dining room table, and 2 people will hear a spirit say something and 6 people won't, but they hear it at the same time.
Gotcha. I just got 2 more for you.
This is great. These are great.
All right. So now the girls, there's 2 girls that go with us. Now they said they heard a snort. What we pick up is hello. It's not a snort. The guy says hello twice. Right when I push start here, it'll go hello. And then they'll say, and then the girls will go, did you hear that? And then you'll hear hello again. Here we go.
You hear that?
No, that's the wrong one. What happened? All right, hold on. Sorry, guys. Here it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they're here. two hellos, I'll play it one more time. Right at the beginning, and then right after they say, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they're here. I mean, that's even got an echo to it. The
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah. I definitely heard it. They were there. And some of your people heard it in the moment because they said, "Did you hear that?" So that was good.
What they heard was, they said it was a pig snort. They said it sounded like a pig snort, and so I was all excited. I'm like, "Oh, we caught a snort!" So I got home, I put it in, I go back to the record, and all of a sudden you hear hello.
Right. I think that those are great catches you got. I said Daniel just wrote those Sasquatch or Nephilim and run on frequency and jump. That's what my friend uses the ancient Sumerian, which is the Nephilim, which is the Anunnaki languaging. Talk to them.
Yeah, a lot of people believe in that too. Yep, there's all different. There's so
many
many
different options.
Right. Nobody knows. That's the bottom line. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. All right, so I'm going to open up the questions. I want to say thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. This is fun.
Listening to those. Not a lot of Sasquatch researchers are picking this up, and I pick it up for some strange reason. So
it's good. It's because you want to, and you're open to it. And you're probably getting more and more intuitive the more you do it, the more you're more connected to nature, the more you do it, the more you're connected to the land, the creatures of the land and of the other worlds are going to connect to you.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you guys got any questions for Patti, please put them in capital letters, and we'll get them right over to her. So what's coming up in the near future? What's the big plans?
I'm shooting with Zach and the guys somewhere next week. I've got something coming up with Ghost Finders again. I've got a lot of paracons all bouncing around the country, and I'm excited. In May, I'm going to Romania. We're doing a whole Transylvania tour into castles and Vlad's Castle and that super haunted forest in Romania. I think they've got Sasquatch.
They probably do. They all have their own version.
Do you want me to just answer this when I would come up, Diane?
Yeah,
I do have a book.
I have
my main book that you could go buy now on Amazon for Old World Magic for the Modern World. Tips, tricks, and techniques. Super easy. Like how to, nobody has time to meditate for an hour. Here's a 30-second way to do it. Why you put some salt in your toilet? How to really communicate with nature and everything. Amazon, Old World Magic. I just turned one into Llewellyn on haunted dolls and magical puppets, but that'll be out next year. And I have another book on intuition that I'm part of coming out in June called Women Gone Wild Intuition Edition. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask a question. What was the crazy experience you've ever had?
The craziest experience is 3 minutes from my house when I was doing a seance and I was at a house. I started to talk about it. It was built by Charlie Chaplin for one of his many girlfriends, Mary Astor. It was a super party house through the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. The Rolling Stones manager bought it in the 60s, and it was the Rolling Stones stayed there, Graham Parsons. Then the person who invented the real life sex doll lived there and got too scary. And then my neighbor, Marilyn Manson, he moved in for 7 years, got too scary for him too. We were doing a seance there. And one kid got disrespectful. First, cool things were happening, like the French doors flying open. The most spirit activity I have ever seen happened twice. A glass flew across the thing. The speaker came on, noise, white. It sounded like a spirit box, but it was a speaker attached to an old record player that wasn't plugged in. And then I was trying to keep control of the energy of the spirits there. And then he said something, the kid said something really, really stupid. And it was a 4-camera shoot, and the cameraman facing him burst into flames, like a V up his back, like angel wings of fire up his back. 2 cameras actually caught it. One camera started filming the ceiling or the floor. You test the metal of a camera person by a small room with a lot of people bursting into flames. His camera, he's wondering why everybody's screaming and staring at him as his back flies up. cool which medium Patty becomes medic Patty, which I am. I'm EMT1 certified cardiology. Like drop and roll, and I'm calling in my protectors. Oh, this is another element. My protector shut it down. I go, I don't care what we're filming. This is not okay. Spontaneous combustion on my watch is not okay. I'm watching the blistering on his back. But the cameraman who was a super skeptic, was so intrigued by spontaneous combustion. He's like, I'm fine. He had a sweater, put it on. I'm watching the blistering. We talked to the kid who was so scared now. He was not going to be a problem anymore. And we finished the seance and all sorts of more crazy stuff happened. But the coolest part is like 3 weeks later, the guy who caught on fire showed me his back, and the small of his back where the fire hit him. It totally looked like he had went and got a tattoo of a dragon. Open mouth, a scar, sharp teeth, winged head, into the shape of a serpent, of a dragon. That is the exact energy I called in to shut down the seance. I have dragons everywhere. I work dragon magic, dragons everywhere, dragons. Beautiful, because they're crossroads beasts. They're the most protective. And I'm like, oh my God, you have a tramp stamp of a dragon on your back. That is, and he wrote a script with Stephen Norrington, the guy who wrote League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the Blade series, about this TV medium who did every TV show. And then a portal opened, and then all hell breaks loose. They haven't done it yet. I hope somebody fabulous plays me. But I sat down with him for 5 hours, and I literally said, for all you guys who tape stuff, I go, you can't say that on camera. He goes, but you said that. I go, I know I said that. That opens a portal. You don't want to be one of those cursed horror films, do you? It happens all the time. Poltergeist, Exorcist. A spirit, energy, whatever on the other side, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't know the difference of an actor saying lines and somebody really causing a ritual, opening a portal. So if they ever do it, I changed all the words that they aren't going to really open up a portal to hell.
Wow.
That was the wildest. I've had my ribs broken by the Black Dahlia. I've been pushed down the stairs in Indiana, but most ghosts are good. We just always go for the bad ones. That's why I like Sasquatch, which is great, because you don't have to go to a prison. You go out in nature, and I have this commune with nature thing. So, I think you got to get to know them better.
We'll have to get you hooked up with somebody out your way to go out in the woods and look for a little bit.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's SoCal Squatcher. Have you looked into the missing person phenomena in the forest?
No, but I know there's a lot. I haven't looked into it, but I know a lot of people go into forest and never come back. I know some of it obviously fell down a cliff and never seen again, but some of it not. And this forest we're going to in Romania, I think lots of missing people. It's like there's the two most haunted. One is in Japan and one is Romania.
That's why I asked you earlier about if it was possible to walk into a portal and not, just maybe like the guy that runs the show, Doug Hychek, runs Untold Network. He was talking about it a couple weeks ago. He says, well, imagine walking into a portal, then all of a sudden you wake up and you're 30 feet under the ground.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that probably, again, can happen. I don't know how it would behoove them or why, because again, they're trying to live probably their own lives, do whatever it is they do on their own, but it could be. And I don't think people should go alone probably into the forest for many reasons, from bad people to bad ghosts to Sasquatch to whatever.
I agree with you. Okay. Well, one more question from Miss Francesca E. She says, have you ever been approached by the Skinwalker Ranch folks?
No, but I wish I would. I wish they would. Hey, Skinwalker Ranch folks, I would love to go there and see what's what, but I haven't.
Okay. All right. One more question. That was a quick one. And then they want to know where you can see the video of the tournament. I guess
I have to somewhere. I've seen little clips from it, but they were saving it for the documentary on the Mary Astor house. I will have to find it. It's most of it has been pulled back because they want to do something with it. But there is some little tiny clips of it. I will have to look at and post it on my social media or something. PattiNegri.com. I'm there all the time. So I will have to find it.
Okay.
It's somewhere that you could see it in minimal, not the whole thing.
Well, our hour is up. I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions. I apologize, guys, but she's a busy lady and she's got to get on with it. Her day.
I'm going to Topanga Canyon. I'm going to the woods tonight.
She's getting in the woods, folks. She's getting in the woods. That's my
If I see a Sasquatch, I'll call you. What do I do?
So I'm going to put you backstage for a little bit. And then I'll be right behind you. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your Monday for us here and answering some questions. I hope everybody learned something tonight because I sure did.
You are so welcome. It was an honor. You're a great host. It's a great show. Thank you, everybody, for your great questions. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Patti Negri. I forgot to play the disclaimer, so I'm going to play that real quick right now. Sorry. Better late than never. Like I said, I was scrambled at the beginning of the podcast with the computer network, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but we survived. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for keeping it nice and clean tonight, being nice, great questions as always. I love all you guys. It's great to see you each and every week. Don't forget, there's other great programming on before me on the Untold Network, so make sure you stop in and see them guys before I come on. Next week's guest is Mr. Jay Pachochin from the Kettle Moraine. He's going to be our next week's guest on Monday at 8 p.m. So you know what's next. I'll see you guys all Monday. And as my friend Larry says, get in the woods, people.
I'm trapped inside a fake reality. Better days will never come for me.